The oppressed Muslim woman, a subservient, hidden figure deprived of her fundamental human rights, intellectually and economically constrained. This is the cliché frequently propagated by Western media, while in contrast, the Western woman is empowered, free to choose her path in life, and liberated from the shackles of male oppression and subjugation. Indeed, the West heralds itself for championing women's rights and setting standards for gender equality and female enablement. But the darker truths so frequently experienced by these women in their day-to-day lives are brushed aside. Recent media outrage and demonstrations against sexual harassment and the exploitation of women bears witness to these ongoing struggles and contradictions within Western society. It may come as a surprise to learn that women living in the West were granted the same statutory rights and freedoms as their male counterparts only 100 years ago. Islam had already granted these same rights 1,500 years prior. Islam is the only religion that has set out a perfect body of principles that bestows on women an equal status to men both spiritually and practically, in guaranteeing their rights to an education, to work, to own property and inheritance, and financial independence. Can today's society even imagine that women had to fight for a law to stop their own property and earnings to be handed over to their husbands once they got married?
1870. The Married Women's Property Act allows married women to own their own property. Previously, when women married, their property was transferred to their husbands. Divorce heavily favoured men, allowing property to remain in their possession. 1922. The Law of Property Act allows both husband and wife to inherit property equally. 1923. The Matrimonial Cause Act makes grounds for divorce the same for women and men. Influential acts of 1857 paved the way for this act. 1975. The Sex Discrimination Act makes it illegal to discriminate against women in work, education, and training. This is another act pushed through by the women's movement. (609 to 632 CE). The Quran is revealed. Covet not that whereby Allah has made some of you excel others. Men shall have a portion of that which they earn, and women shall have a portion of that which they earn. Ask Allah alone of His bounty. Surely Allah has perfect knowledge of all things. Chapter 4, verse 33. For everyone leaving an inheritance we have appointed heirs, parents, and near relations, and also husbands and wives, to whom you are bound by solemn covenants. So give all of them their appointed shares. Surely Allah watches over all things. Chapter 4, verse 34. For divorced women also there shall be provision according to what is fair. This is an obligation binding on the righteous. Chapter 2, verse 242. O Prophet, when you divorce your wives, observe the period prescribed for making the divorce effective, and reckon the period, and be mindful of your duty to Allah, your Lord. Turn them not out of their homes, nor should they depart from there during that period, unless they are guilty of manifest indecency. These are the limits set by Allah. Whoso transgresses the limits set by Allah wrongs himself. Chapter 65, verse 2. The Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, laid down that education is compulsory for both. He said, "It is the duty of every Muslim man and every Muslim woman to acquire knowledge." He also said, "He who brings up his daughters well and makes no distinction between them and his sons will be close to me in paradise."
In June 1868, the University of London Senate voted to admit women to sit the general examination, becoming the world's first Western university to accept women. However, it is interesting to note here that the very religion which is criticized and demonized for supposedly oppressing their women actually holds the very first founder of any university within early history. In 859 CE, Fatma al-Fahri founded the Al-Qarawiyyin University in Fez, Morocco, which soon became an international hub for learning subjects from grammar to astrology. This university is still in existence today and is a proud landmark in the history of Islam. Islam has recognized the vital contribution of women's knowledge to society, as well as to the family and raising the next generation of intellectuals, and lays great emphasis and importance on the equal education of both men and women. Islam does not prevent women from taking authoritative roles or from being leaders in various capacities.
Did you know? The Ahmadiyya Muslim Women's Association has over 134 local presidents, 15 regional presidents, and 1 national president within the UK alone. Each president has her own team who all work closely together to keep various community departments running smoothly.
The history of Islam is showered with examples of prestigious Muslim women, women who have been in battle, women who were leading teachers, mathematicians, scientists, and much more.
Did you know? In 10th century Baghdad, Sataita al-Mahamali, a Muslim hijab-wearing woman, was seen as one of the most renowned scholars of her time and earned enough esteem to be mentioned by later intellectuals. She excelled in many fields such as Arabic literature, hadith, jurisprudence, as well as mathematics.
Islamic directives regarding women's attire have been attacked and misunderstood by many in the West, particularly with regards to the hijab and the segregation of men and women in certain arenas of life. The concept of Islamic segregation is based on a model of chastity, a requirement upon both men and women. Recently, circulated scandals in the media regarding the exploitation of women have ignited the heated debates on the issue of women's safety in society. Many non-Muslim countries have now brought in initiatives designed to reduce the number of assaults and harassment cases. Women-only carriages have been introduced in many rail lines in Mexico, Japan, and India, after awareness campaigns and tougher sentencing for sexual harassment on public transport failed to reduce incidents.
A 2014 Reuters poll, which surveyed 6,300 women around the world, found that 70% said that they would feel safer traveling in a separate carriage.
Germany has now created women-only safe zones during public events such as New Year's Carnival. It is now becoming apparent that the most effective protective measures are to provide women with these safe spaces. Protective measures that were part of Islamic practice 1,500 years ago. The hijab serves to safeguard women against receiving unwanted attention from strangers. The instruction for women to wear the hijab goes hand in hand with the instruction for men to lower their gaze, which is established in Islam so that women are addressed with respect and have the freedom to go about their daily lives without fearing for their safety. Islam's establishment of equal rights regarding inheritance, divorce, and possession of property has allowed Muslim women to lead fulfilled, independent lives for over 1,500 years now. Today, Ahmadi Muslim women are empowered through the rights given to them by Islam. Their contribution to society's schools, hospitals, businesses, and respective establishments demonstrates that their choice to adopt modest clothing and the hijab does not impede their professional progress. It is ironic that Islam's established laws on equality are now the very same laws which are being debated by governing bodies in the West. It is heartening that they are coming to realize the wisdom of Islamic teachings in establishment of a peaceful, inclusive, and progressive society for both men and women. A future in which all the teachings of the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, are accepted as the norm is not too distant, and the struggle which the Holy Prophet ﷺ launched for the rights of women will soon bring forth its fruit.